All right, is gold gonna hit our forecasted target from a week ago? Is it gonna hit that target in the next half an hour? We're gonna find out during this live stream. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Han Tan. I'm the Chief Market Analyst at Bybit Learn. Thank you so much for joining us here on this live stream, which we do every weekday. All right, so I'll get right to the charts here to see what we are gonna focus on right off the bat. And as I do that, I'm gonna try and get confirmation that we are indeed streaming live on YouTube. Those of you who are watching, we are on YouTube. You got to look for Bybit Learn Official. That is the channel name, Bybit Learn Official, and then click on the live tab. Okay, that's where you'll see all of our daily live streams, all hosted, archived in the name of transparency and published on YouTube, Bybit Learn Official. We are also streaming on X. Our handle is at Bybit_learn. So make sure you check it out there. So pulling up YouTube now. Yes, indeed, we are live on YouTube. Bybit Learn Official. That is the channel name. Gonna get some quick confirmation that we are streaming on X as well. While you guys are keeping an eye on this gold chart, it got so close. My word. Okay, so yes, looks like we are indeed streaming on X as well. So well done. Okay, cool. Let's get right to the chart here, folks. Okay, so again, in the name of transparency, right? We had published these lines here, like 4348 and 4115 from a week ago. Don't believe me? Again, go check out the live stream from December 5th. Again, we are available on Bybit Learn Official. That is the YouTube channel, and also on X at Bybit_learn. So we had mentioned 4348 to the upside, 4115 to the downside. Now, I'll give you a quick recap about what drove these two big green candlesticks here on the daily time frame. But look at today, just got to within $2, less than $2. Today's high was 4346.22. All right, and the target was 4348 that we had from December 5th, which was right here when gold was hovering around these levels right here. This is the daily time frame. For those of you who are looking at this chart and are seeing this kind of stuff for the first time, just know that this is called a candlestick chart. That means each of these candlesticks or bars represents how gold prices performed in one day. All right, so you can change the time frame from 1 day down to 1 minute up to 1 month, right? To see all these different patterns, and it gives you a good idea about how gold performed during that time frame that you chose. Okay, so sorry, my phone just kind of almost died on me there. Sorry about that. Yeah. So, so this is pretty exciting to see, right? Today it got to within $2 of that target that we set from last Friday. Now, why is it rising? Because again, this is something we've been talking about a lot now. The Federal Reserve, which is the U.S. Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, aka the Fed, cut interest rates this week. This was its third straight rate cut in 3 consecutive meetings. They've got about 6 meetings scheduled throughout the year. They just wrapped up their last one of 2025 just earlier, a couple of days ago. And as widely expected, they cut interest rates by 25 basis points. But beyond that, the Fed also then gave their outlook, right, called the dot plot that signals where each of the Federal Reserve or the FOMC, that's the committee that actually votes on what to do with U.S. interest rates. They then issue a dot plot which forecasts where each of them thinks that U.S. interest rate should be not just next year, but all the way out through 2028 and beyond. And so from that dot plot, you've got the FOMC or the Fed forecasting one more rate cut next year. But all that was issued before we got some new data. It's called the weekly initial jobless claims. It's when every week those who are unemployed in the US can go to the government and get unemployment benefits. So when they apply, it registers as an initial weekly jobless claims. That number rose by the most since March 2020. Do you remember what happened in March 2020? That was the onset of the pandemic. Unless you are, less than 4 years old and are watching this, or sorry, less than 5 years old and watching this right now, right? But most of us we will know, right? March 2020, that's the onset of the pandemic. So the rise in the initial claims applications for unemployment benefits rose by the most since the onset of the pandemic. Right. What does it tell us? So that told markets that, hey, looks like the US jobs market is not as strong as we think, and it could be weakening sooner than we think. And if the US jobs market is getting weaker, the Fed will have to step in and lower interest rates further. So the forecast by the market, not the FOMC members, by the market, right? There's this thing called the Fed Funds Futures that reflects markets' expectations for what the Fed will do in future meetings. The odds for a January rate cut, okay, rose from single digits up to around a 1 in 4 chance, like 20+% chance, based off the back of those numbers. In other words, markets now think that the Fed may have to cut more than just once in 2026. Okay, so what has that got to do with gold? Gold loves the idea of US interest rates going down. I repeat, gold loves the idea of interest rates going down. The idea of interest rates in the US going down then sends gold higher. Hence, you've got gold gaining with these big daily candlesticks to the upside, these green ones here, up, and got so close to our target that we set from last Friday. Now, less than $2, 0.04, not 0.4, not 4, not 4%, 0.04% away from that target. Is that close enough? All right. Or did you want it down to the specific cent? You let me know whether that's good enough. All right. Now, I hope you didn't miss out, but more importantly, keep me in check. Go ahead and check out that last Friday's live stream that we have on YouTube and also on X. And then you can see the forecast that we had. And I'll show you the table, the slide that I had shown during that live stream, of course, with some updates since. Okay. So 4348 there to the upside, got so close. Of course, we know that there's still a few more hours left in this trading week. We'll see if it actually gets there. But, at least in my opinion, I think it's a big win there. Of course, this was contingent on the jobless claims data. I don't think we'd have gotten that close if it wasn't for the jobless claims data actually showing that big jump in unemployment benefits applications in the US. Okay. Now, because like after the Fed rate cut, we know that even gold was really kind of struggling for direction. So it almost needed like a second helping hand to actually get to that towards that 4348 target that we had from December 5th. Okay, so that's gold prices right now. We'll check in on this towards the end of this live stream. But here's one that hit it right on the dot. Here's another beautiful one. This is USD CHF Plus. Now, real quick, for those of you who are perhaps not aware, here in the Bybit universe, of course, we offer all of the cryptos and derivatives, crypto-linked derivatives like perps and what have you that you are so familiar with and perhaps are so in love with. But guess what? In case you didn't know, earlier this year, just a few months ago, Bybit also launched its TradFi products. TRADFI. That's short for traditional finance. Okay, and so what does that mean? That includes gold, stock indices like the S&P 500, like the Dow, like the Nasdaq 100, or you've got currency pairs like Euro Dollar, right? EUR/USD, which is the world's most traded FX pair. GBP USD, British Pound versus US Dollar, Dollar Yen, USD JPY, right? All that. You've got oil as well. So many of these that are offered within the Bybit universe now, in case you didn't know. So how do you find them? If you're using the Bybit web trading platform, hover your mouse over the top left-hand corner in that hamburger menu. That's the 3 horizontal lines. You'll see this tab for TradFi. Here, I'll zoom in here a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so you can see TradFi over there. I can choose between forex, indices, stocks, metals like gold, commodities, etc., etc. Even individual stocks, right, like Apple, Tesla, and all that. It's all within the Bybit universe now as well. You can go check them out. Okay, let me just zoom back out a little bit because I think that will mess up my charts. 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so now this is another number that we had written from December 5th. Right, guess what? Fine. Yesterday it surpassed it, but then look at where it's settling right now, right? So that you got this nice clean end of yesterday at 0.795, and then starting today at around 0.795 as well, not moving much from that level. So, in other words, unless you get it down exactly to the pip, which is 0.0001 of the prices here, right? Unless if you get it down to the specific pip or tick, if you want to go even smaller, right? 0.795, pretty much as good as it got. Okay, so pretty pleased with how this setup had turned out. But again, we had drawn these lines 0.795 to the downside or 0.812 to the upside from December 5th, right? So when USD CHF, this is the US dollar versus the Swiss franc, all right? And in the Bybit universe, we add the plus number there. You can find out why with the FAQs on the website. But yeah, so December 5th was here, right? If you can see my mouse right around here. So this is where we were drawing those lines already, and beautifully 0.950, pretty much as good as it got. Okay. Now, why? Because not only did you have the Fed rate decision on December 10th, but then the very next day you had the Swiss National Bank, the SNB, which also made its rate decision. The Fed cut interest rates. So just know this, that the currency tends to weaken at the thought of interest rates in that country going down. So even before the Fed has been cutting interest rates already, you had the dollar, kind of weakening from over here, right? Rebound and then big drops over the past couple of days, right? Now you compare that with the Swiss National Bank, which said, we're going to keep our interest rates level. Okay, so when one country's interest rates coming down, right, so that its currency tends to weaken versus the idea of another country's interest rates perhaps staying solid, okay, or there we even talk about a hike. There's already talk about how some major central banks might have to raise interest rates next year. But until then, as long as the premium comes down, this currency here should weaken compared to this. That's FX trading for you. You got to understand the value of dollar versus Swiss franc, or euro versus the dollar. You're pitting two currencies against each other. Okay. Long story short, 0.795. Don't believe me? Check it out. We drew that line from December 5th, and yesterday got it there right beautifully, and that was a really prudent level to have drawn because it was pretty much as good as it got. Okay. Now, to be clear, none of this is financial advice. Okay, we are not giving our financial advice. We are drawing these lines based on models that we use. Well, I can tell you that it's a Bloomberg model, and of course, various technical analysis and fundamental tools that we use, and then we juxtapose that with what's about to happen. So we knew from last Friday, well, you kind of know from many months prior when these central banks will be holding their meetings and having their decisions on interest rates. Right, so you can kind of make ultimately, of course, it's an informed guess, so to speak, right? So it is a forecast. There's no guarantee, and it's not financial advice, but hey, judges by our track record. Don't believe me? You can go to our X channel at Bybit_learn, and we post, right, many of these different scenarios, right, that we had kind of outlined from the week prior, and then when it gets achieved. Okay, USD CHF hitting 0.795 yesterday from a scenario we had drawn from December 5th. Okay, let me show you what it looks like in table form, because we've got quite a few to cover here. Well, tell you what, let me show you some other charts before I wrap it up with the text form. So let's go over to, how about this? Okay, so let's go to the S&P 500. So again, this is within the TradFi segment of the Bybit universe. You can find all these assets like the S&P 500 within the TradFi tab. Just hover your mouse over here on the top left-hand corner of the web trading platform. Look for TradFi, or you can just type in the search box what you're looking for. Otherwise, if you are using the Bybit app, you can just type in what you're looking for, like SP 500, Nvidia, Apple, Tesla, gold, and it should show up there. Okay, but yeah, so from last Friday, we contemplated the idea of whether or not the S&P 500 could hit a new record high. And guess what? It did. All right, just yesterday, right? Just pipped right above, hitting that new record high of 6930.43, right? Bettering this previous all-time high here from October 30th of 6928.63. Just pipped it and then come back down a little bit now. Right. So long story short, did it set a new record high? Yes. It was a possibility that we had mentioned from last week. Of course, depending on some key earnings and ultimately what the Fed rate decision and what its policy outlook is for the coming years, all that bolstered the S&P 500. It fell initially after after the Fed Chair Powell's press conference. It fell, but there was clearly some buy the dip action to boost it up to a record high. Again, this is the 1 day daily time frame. Yeah. So each of these bars or candlesticks represents how the S&P 500 performed in 1 day. Okay. All right. So that was fulfilled as well. Very nice. So, as good as it got, 6930, just literally, about less than 2 index points away, or 2 index points above that previous record high. Long story short, it hit a new record high. Okay. Another one that we had highlighted in our 3 assets to watch for this week that we had highlighted from last Friday. Again, check out that December 5th live stream that we have archived and published on YouTube and X. We mentioned oil, right? Here's another one that got really, really, really close. Okay. So the code for oil within the Bybit universe is UKOUSD. UKOUSD. Again, I'm using the 1 day time frame because I know that most of you are actually watching this after the live stream is over, which is fine, all in a good time. So that's why I keep the time frames a bit longer. I think 1 day is pretty good. That way, it makes sure that even while you are watching it right now, hopefully those scenarios are still intact. But again, same setup that we had from last Friday. We drew that $61 line to the downside, and it got so close, just 11.5 cents. 11.5 cents. All right, $0.115, less than 0.2% away from the target that we drew from December 5th. Okay, right. So again, this is what it looked like. Got so close. Again, we've got a few more hours leading up to the end of this trading week. We'll see if we can actually touch $61. But I think that was pretty good as well. Less than 0.2%. Right now, perhaps in a future live stream, I can talk to you guys about how because as again, this is not financial advice. Even in the best of forecasts, sometimes it doesn't get exactly to that point either, or there's bound to be some slippage, right? So that's why you've got analysts who are constantly adjusting their price targets and what have you, right? So perhaps in a future live stream, if you want to, let me know. We can talk to you about strategies about, okay, well, as there are some profits, how do you then book some profits and maybe not leave everything open to at risk of that slippage, right? But still, I think this one, those who are looking to the downside for oil prices, I think that the one did quite well. And so let me show you what this looks like in a table form. This is the chart or the slide that we had shown you from the December 5th live stream. Okay, and I've gone ahead and updated it. So I know it's kind of small, but you can, if you really zoom in, you will see the date here, December 5th, that we had from last Friday. Okay, previewing this week. So we asked the question: S&P 500 new record high? Yep, we got it. Okay, December 11th. USD CHF, right? That target was hit 0.795. Okay, I've just made it bold so it's easier for you to see, but we had highlighted these numbers from December 5th. Okay, so now the oil breakout, and I should have been clearer here. We contemplated a breakout to the upside, but it turns out to be a fake one. But more importantly, it got to within that $61 target to the downside, less than 0.2%. Okay, so that's a quick recap of this week. These are the stuff that you have missed out on this week. And of course, there's a lot more that you probably missed out on if you haven't been following. And we have been keeping you guys updated, not just on our daily bits. That's the name of our daily article that we publish on the website. You can go to learn.bybit.com. But we also post them on social media, on the Bybit official X account, also on the Bybit Learn account, like I mentioned, the app as well. Okay, download the Bybit app and you can find those stuff there. But here was the stuff that you missed out on. We had written all of this except for the stuff in green and red. All the stuff in white we had published from last Friday. Again, if you're just joining us, don't believe me, check it out. In the name of transparency, we publish them and keep them archived on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, you know where it is. For those on X, right, you can go to YouTube and search for Bybit Learn Official. That's the name of the channel, Bybit Learn Official. Click on the live tab. Those of you on YouTube, you can also check us out on X. We've got a lot more content there. Our X handle is at Bybit_learn. Okay, cool. So with that breakout, right, I just want to show you guys this here real quick, going back to this chart here. Right, so last Friday it had threatened to break out of that 50-day simple moving average. So now, we mentioned that, hey, for the following week, there's one Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? If there's a continued breakout, then we had another target to the upside. I can't remember what it is anymore, but I'll show you the table in just a bit. But clearly then on Monday, nope, broke back down and then got to within less than 0.2% away from the downside target. Okay, pretty cool. All right, so this clearly was a false breakout. Okay, now going back to the chart, here's another one that I had shared with you guys on December 5th. Let me just pull up on the screen. Just a variation of the text heavy slide that I showed you earlier. Well, this is text heavy as well. All right, so again, gold, right? This needs to be updated now. Not even 0.23% away. Let's see, what did I update it to? Let's check in on gold again real quick. So 0.041%. Does that make sense? Let me just leave this here and do some calculations here. Bear with me, folks. Gotta keep myself in check, right? So $2 divided by 4348 times 100. Yep. Okay. 0.04. Yeah. Okay. 0.041. Yep. Okay, cool. So let me just update this. 0.04. Yeah, okay, that's close enough. Okay, cool. I've updated the slide in real time. Thank you for bearing with me. All right, so right, like literally less than $2 away, 4346. You let me know in the comments. All right, I have my YouTube live chat open here on X. I'm a bit slower because I gotta toggle through so many tabs. But yeah, you let me know. $2 away, is that good enough? Right? Or did you want to see it down to the specific cent? Right, but for those of you who missed it, USD CHF, not just hit our target but surpassed it. But that target was so prudent, right? Because then it just kind of hovered over there around the target that we had drawn from a week ago. Okay, so that's the gold upside scenario fulfilled, right? Bitcoin, I'm leaving it open, and I'll explain why in a bit. And now I know many of you are watching this because of Bitcoin, but we know that the crypto space has been quite tricky for a while, right? So I'm leaving this open, even though it got so close to 95,000. In fact, I'll show you. I think it's again about less than 1% away or so, right? But then for oil, right, this one I think pretty close, right? Got to within less than 1% of that target there. Okay, so that's the table form that I shown you, as opposed to the listicle form that was here. Okay, all right, so let me go back to Bitcoin. All right, here we go. All right, so this is, I know, something very popular for many of you. So actually, yeah, 0.4%, right, away from the upside target. So I probably need to update that slide as well. Right? Yeah, I think it's pretty much closed already. Although, having said that, I do probably need to draw a new setup for you guys for next week. And I'll tell you right now, you got to tune back in on Monday, because we've got a big week coming up, and I'll probably have more setups for you there. I probably won't share it with you now because we haven't even previewed the coming week's big events. We've got a lot of events coming up. I'll give you a quick heads up. Excuse me, but the setups won't be available, until I think Monday. Hopefully, I have more time to kind of catch a breath, because what a week, right? So 0.4% away from target. I think that deserves a check mark there. Yeah, let's go with the check mark. Yes, very nice. Okay, I think that one can be closed. Give me 1 second. I know it may sound like I'm talking gibberish here, but it'll make sense in just a bit. And then oil prices, let me just check this again. This was, less than 2% away. Jeez. I mean, cut me some slack here, folks, because 0.2%. Because of course, interpreting markets, right, is sometimes an unforgiving task. So there's a lot of grace and humility that's involved. But I'm certainly more than happy to share this information with you across our live streams and also on our daily articles at learn.bybit.com. Okay, so I've just updated this table here real quick. All right, so oil 0.2% away, Bitcoin 0.4% away. I think that deserves a take. And we'll see how gold goes, because I think with it getting to within $2, 0.04% away from the target, I think it's almost close enough that maybe we could see 4348 gold before the day is over. We'll check in just a bit. Okay. All right. So the Bitcoin one, right? Let's go back to this chart. Right. So you can tell, like, so even though the Fed did cut interest rates, and other risk assets did cheer it. So you got not just the S&P 500, which measures the overall performance of the US stock market. In fact, there's another index that measures stock markets around the world that also hit a new record high. Okay. And we'll go through a list of different assets that you may have missed that hit new record highs this week as well, right? So we're here to expand your horizons beyond crypto, but we have to pay due respect and give it proper attention as well. So crypto clearly has been struggling. So despite all these other assets hitting new record highs, excuse me, Bitcoin, sorry, almost lost my voice there. Bitcoin could barely hang on to its gains, right? So right now, as we speak, still hovering just above the 92,000 mark. It got to within the 95,000 target that actually we've had that open since November 21st. So if you had that, from November 21st, if you had been eyeing that 95,000 level, I think, this week was, getting pretty close. All right. Again, this is not advice. You can keep it open if you want to. Over the longer term, I am still bullish about Bitcoin, but for the interim, basically between now and mid-January, some big things need to happen in crypto before Bitcoin can either break out meaningfully again to the either downside or just keep rip roaring. Okay, and I'll tell you what the big announcement will be as you get closer to it. Just know this, that decision or that announcement has to be made before January 15th. Probably those of you who follow crypto markets closely, you probably already know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so cryptos generally, sentiment is still quite weak. In fact, we just published a report today with our good friends at Block Shows that talks about how the signals that we're getting from the crypto derivative space, still pointing to something that's quite bearish. And I'll show you how to get to it right now. So when you go down to bybit.com, right? Or if you want to remember this, you can just go straight to learn.bybit.com. But if let's say your starting point is bybit.com, I'll zoom in here real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can I go 6? No, too much. 5. Okay. You'll find the Learn tab across the top, right? You see Bybit Learn, click on Bybit Learn. You'll see the URL automatically change to learn.bybit.com. Now, from there, you can go access it through blog and you can go to Crypto Insights, or you can just scroll on down, because this is the same way that you would use if you are using the Bybit app. All right. You go to Analysis, and then scroll down till you see Research and Insights Hub. We just published an article here. We've got daily bits down here as well. I published something this morning as well. But I want to draw your attention to this report. Now, this is probably for more advanced users. We gathered the data up until December 11th after the Fed decision. And then we published it today. So overall, you can see, just from a title alone, and you can scroll through for those of you who prefer some more in-depth look into the crypto space. So be it the risk appetite index or open interest or trading volumes, right? Not exactly changing much, right? Despite there being this big event of the Fed rate decision this week. Okay, that's why I'm saying, there has to be this other big announcement that comes out that pertains to the crypto space by January 15th, right? I think that will clear a major overhang. But to be clear, it doesn't mean that, Bitcoin will just keep roaring. If the decision comes out another way, then Bitcoin could tumble big time. Right. So this is something that we got to overcome before we have better clarity on the, near-term outlook for crypto. So no surprise that it kind of moves sideways, like this. Let me zoom back out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So it's been moving sideways really over the past, month or so. Okay. Yeah. 95,000 got to 0.4% of the target. I think pretty good. Okay. So that's the look at crypto now. But again, like if those of you who are just joining, you missed out, right? So we mentioned S&P 500 hit a new record high yesterday. It was a scenario that we had highlighted even from December 5th, a week ago, last Friday. Don't believe us? Go check it out. It's all archived on YouTube. Bybit Learn Official. That's the name of the YouTube channel, Bybit Learn Official, and click on the live tab. Find the December 5th live stream. Right? Keep me in check. It's all done in the name of transparency. We also publish all this on our X handle at Bybit_Learn. Okay. So that's new record high for S&P 500. Of course, if you look at silver, well, that one has been hitting new record highs like every other day, really, right? So if you've been missing out, I mean, just look at this, right? New record highs basically since November 28th, and essentially almost every day of this month, just up, right? So that's another record high one. You got gold that again was got to about $2 away from our 4348 target. Now it's fallen a bit more, so about $12 away now. Still, we got $12 is pretty much nothing on a day like this. We'll see if it has enough buyers to keep pushing it to that 4348 target, right? But gold has been rising. Look at euro dollar, right? Euro dollar has been rising as well. Hit a new 2-month high yesterday, right? Levels that we have not seen since this will be early October. Let me kind of zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see this clearer. This is euro dollar. This is the world's most widely traded currency pair, right? Breaching 1.176 for the first time since October 1st, if I'm not mistaken. 1.176. Yeah, right? First time since October 1st, right? Yesterday. Why? Because you had the weaker dollar and many currencies took advantage of that. So set a new 2-month high. Okay. So you got plenty of assets that are still rising. Even Broadcom, this is a big AI player that we mentioned. They have projects with hyperscalers like Meta, like Google, like even ByteDance, right? They've got all these AI semiconductor projects with them. So this one also hit a new record high this week, but then it announced some earnings, which I mean was still better than expected, but markets are just so greedy, they just can't get enough. So yeah, there we go. So that it just no, it actually. Oh man. Okay. Well, you got to check the live stream. I just refreshed the page and threw away all the targets. But this one also surpassed the target, right? Really beautifully. Don't believe me? Check the live stream from yesterday. We had drawn the lines before their earnings announcement. Their earnings announcement came out after U.S. markets closed on Thursday, December 11th, and it has surpassed that. All right. I shouldn't have tried to refresh it then earlier. But just so you know, guys, let me zoom in here. Again, within the Bybit TradFi space, right, which we just launched a few months ago, you can hover your mouse over the top left-hand corner, the menu, the hamburger menu, right? Look for TradFi. You can see stocks. Okay, you can type in the name of the stock that you want. Tesla, Netflix, Apple, Nvidia, what have you, Meta, it's all there. All the big ones. But also, in case you didn't know, if you click on the info tab, you can see the timings, right? And basically for big name stocks, you can essentially trade them on a almost 24 hours, 5 days a week. Okay, you've got a 1 minute gap from 11:59 p.m. till midnight, then another 2 minute gap from 1:59 a.m. till 2:01 a.m. But you can click on the info tab, check out all those timings for you. Okay, but yeah, this one, long story short, Broadcom also hit a new record high before that earnings, even though it was good, not good enough for markets. They then sold off this stock big time, hitting the target that we had drawn from yesterday's live stream. I believe we had drawn a 6.7% move, if I'm not mistaken, clearly gone beyond that. Okay, so let me know if you missed out, folks. We had all this, available on our YouTube and X accounts. Okay, what else can I show you? So we've gone through oil, we've gone through silver, we've gone through euro dollar, gold. Look, folks, if there's any charts that you want me to check out or even draw for you and do some quick on the fly analysis, just let me know in the chat. You can do the live chat on YouTube and also on X, although I'm a bit slower on X because I got quite a few tabs I got to kind of go through here. But tell you what, let's end with this. And apologies, because we are over already, but I want to do this justice. So you got to come back next week for a deeper dive into some of these big events for next week. What are those big events? I will show you right now in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, bam. Okay. Big list of events here. You've got the US jobs report. Now, if you are new to the markets, just know this, right? Arguably, these two are the two biggest, most important, has, or maybe not most important, but has the greatest potential to really rock markets. And then that's these two these two sets of data: the U.S. jobs report, which comes out every month, and then the monthly inflation data out of the U.S. as well. Okay, you may have heard of it, CPI, Consumer Price Index. Now, for those of you who've been watching the markets for a while, you'll notice, well, these dates are a bit odd. Now, these are delayed because of the U.S. government shutdown, if you recall. Typically, the jobs report comes out on the first Friday of every month. So this should have been due on the first Friday of December. But because of the U.S. government shutdown, they couldn't collect the data. So it's delayed till next Tuesday, or this coming Tuesday, December 16th. Okay. Then for the CPI, well, it does come out around mid-month. Okay? So this one is, kind of okay. So December 18th, big one. But also December 18th, we've got another big central bank making the decision, right? European Central Bank. And then you got the Bank of England also making a rate decision, and the Bank of Japan, right? So all this could affect currencies and stock indices across their different countries, and we'll give you a deeper dive as you get closer to those dates. But here's a quick snapshot of the week ahead. It's another big week. Okay. And I'll, distill it down to maybe 3 assets to keep an eye out for, and we'll then keep you posted also on these daily market update live streams, and also on our daily bits. That's our daily article. Okay. So here it is. Make sure you come back on Monday, and, we'll give you more information about this alone. Maybe I can just do this. I was setting up this chart. Tell you what, I'll do it. For those of you who caught a glimpse of the special giveaway, don't worry, I'll give it to you in just a bit. Okay, cool. So this is Euro GBP. All right, fine. I'll commit to this now then. And you guys can keep me accountable a week from today, whether or not these scenarios will be hit, just like the hat trick of scenarios that we got with USD CHF, with the S&P 500 hitting a new record high, and I think, what was it, oil prices? Yeah. It got to like way less than 1% of the target. It got so close, like 11.5 cents of the target, right? So this is Euro GBP. We're gonna focus on this because again, you do have you've got the European Central Bank and also the Bank of England, both making rate decisions on Thursday. That is December 18th. Okay, so make sure you are aware of it, but we're gonna give you a heads up here. Okay, this is Euro GBP. Look at how easy it is to draw these annotations on the web trading platform that we have within Bybit. Sorry, folks, I'm drawing this on the live here. I wasn't going to show you this to you until Monday, but yeah, and let me firm up some numbers here. Looking at my model. Okay. Yeah, pretty close, I would say. Maybe I might adjust this up higher to 871, but yeah, that's pretty close. You know, I'm going to stick to my guns. Let's go with 0.870 there. Okay. So market, okay. Those of you who are watching right now, market from today, right? We'll see if by December 19th, whether we'll have an upside target hit or a downside target hit. These are the levels, the potential targets to keep an eye on. To be clear, none of this is financial advice. Please do your own homework, but of course, we'll help you guys along the way with more information, more analysis about what's happening across markets, not just in crypto, but across TradFi as well. Okay. All right. With that said, let me just end with this now. If you have stayed this long, here's a little goodie for you. So we do have a prize pool of 25,000 USDT set aside for these live streams for you if you are not signed up for Bybit yet. So make sure you scan this QR code, right, and sign up for your new Bybit account. That way you can get your share of 25,000 USDT in rewards. Okay. Now, for those of you who are existing Bybit users, don't worry, we didn't forget you. Scan this QR code as well, or you can also sign up or just click on the link in the YouTube description below or on the X video, and that will land you on this page. Not that page, but on this page, right, where you can get your share of a further 5,000 USDT in prizes and trading vouchers and other rewards every week. Okay, this is the one for those who have already signed up. If you want to be a part of both the 25,000 USDT prize pool that we have for new users just from these live streams, you can do that, right? Then once you've signed up and gone through the whole process and submitted your documents and once you're approved, then you can be in the running for this separate 5,000 USDT prize pool that we have every week as well. How do you get a share of this? Well, you scroll down, you'll see many different tasks that you can take a part in, right? From submitting your documents to inviting friends or trying out trading one of our spot products or even depositing, right? All these different tasks that you can do. I even try out our bot or earn products. Even further down, engage with our content, right? Read articles, comment on it, even post your own article as well, right? Share an article, like 5 articles. All that will get you points, and then you can stack yourself up against how these other folks have fared over the past week or so. Right, so we got 25 pages worth of winners. Let's go to the first page to see how well they've done. But you can see from the leaderboard there, 300 USDT somebody has claimed already, okay, by doing all of these different tasks, right? So this is for people within the Bybit universe already. We know, we hear you loud and clear, you Bybit OG users, right? So this is something just for you. If you want to be within the Bybit universe, you can sign up, right, by clicking on the top left-hand corner, sign up, and then you can get your share of 25,000 USDT in rewards. And again, you can just click on also on the link in the YouTube description below or on the X video link, which is at Bybit_learn. That's our handle on X. Okay, cool. So we have gone over way much more. I don't really see any questions here, folks. So let me just pull up this slide here again for those of you who want the QR code. I'll leave this on there for like maybe 10 seconds max. All right, scan the QR code, get your share of 25,000 USDT for new users, right? Or click on the link below on YouTube. Those of you on X, heads up, right? We have all our videos archived on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is Bybit Learn Official. Then click on the live tab. Okay. And then those of you on YouTube, you can head on over to X. We got a lot more content there. Our X handle is at Bybit_learn. Okay, cool. 45 minutes past the hour. I want to get my weekend on. So here we go. Let me just zoom out real quick and reset on my charts. But you've got S&P 500 hitting the new record high, just as we had expected or outlined in one of our scenarios from last Friday. You can check out the December 5th live stream. That one, check. You've got USD CHF, which respecting that 0.795 level. Granted, it broke below it, but then it bounced back up. So unless you are a wizard and could catch it down to the precise tick or pip, right, 0.795, a target that we had drawn from last Friday, was pretty much as good as it got. Okay, zooming in there, you can see how, again, this is the daily time frame. So Each of these candlesticks represents how USD CHF, that's a dollar against the Swiss franc, how it fared in that one single day. Some days, like this was um, Tuesday, right? Didn't move much, right? Wednesday, Fed rate decision, big one. Thursday, SMB, that's the Swiss National Bank rate decision, another big move. Long story short, even today, right now as you speak, we're expecting that 0.795 target that we had from last Friday. Beautiful setup there. Quick look at Bitcoin. Yep, still struggling there, really moving sideways, struggling to break above 94,000, although it got to within 0.4% of our upside target that we had reiterated not just last Friday, but also we've had it in place since November 21st. Don't believe me? Check out the November 21st live stream and also December 5th. Gold, unfortunately, not hitting the target that we had from last Friday during this live stream. That target was 4348, but it got also close, right? Less than $2 away from it. I think that's a win already. Again, you can keep me in check. Check out the previous live streams where we drew these lines 4348 and 4115 to since last Friday. Euro dollar pulling back a little bit as well, right? Pretty good. Silver just hitting new record highs after new record highs. Oil, got so close to that target. I think that's pretty good. And then Broadcom also falling. We had drawn a target, hit the target, surpassed it. This target was drawn from yesterday's live stream. That's December 11th, Thursday. Okay, cool. So make sure you join us again on Monday at 2 p.m. GMT. We'll bring you more details about the big events that we've got coming up in the week ahead. Now, U.S. jobs report, we've got the U.S. inflation report. All of these can move various asset classes. I'll help you guys, kind of distill it and hopefully fine tune it to know so that we can pick out just the big items that you got to look out for each of these major events coming up in the following week. I'll show it to you one last time, right? So it's a big week ahead next week. If you thought this week was big, next week it could be big as well. No guarantees, right? None of this is financial advice, but will help guide you through and hopefully make you be able to make better informed decisions across asset classes. Cool. We'll end it there. Thank you so much for your time and for watching. And you can rewatch this live stream on YouTube and X as well. Have a good weekend, and I will see you on Monday at 2 p.m. GMT. All right. Take care now. Bye-bye.